Hey. This is crazy. This one feel like hitting the buzzer beater or something. Championship game. Dream team. Feeling better than I ever been. Cairo in his bag, this beat is heaven sent. Back up in my element, new whip, trunk up in the front, I whip an elephant. It's all limo tent, that's how you move when you the president. You S and off stream, treat him like my last name. Disrespecting, you just signed a check for a long day. Appetizer rappers, you will never be an entree. Really, you a condiment, and I hope y'all follow this. Crazy how people with the most money lack the common sense. Batman over Gotham, how I'm over shit. Running this game, now they finally noticing. Hear us on TV like, damn, yup, I know that's them. Just had to pay the dues. Now I feel like we could never lose. Was just us against the world. Now we finally got the tools. Watch a few years later, turn a puddle to a pool. We just gotta keep it hot to keep the family living cool. All we do is win like a size dad. I just bought my mom a Louis V bag. I just took little bro to BB Simons. Finna put my fam on the island, that's off one check, but I can't get reckless. The next one's...
What is good, everybody, man? Welcome into the Coach's Lounge. Myself, my guy, Coach Fred, sponsored by Tropical Distillery, Twin Peak Whiskey, owned by Mike and Marquise Pouncey. You guys know how it is in the lounge. Coach, man, we have a very, very, very special guest today, man. Give him the introduction that he rightfully deserves.
Man, we got my guy, Dedrick, a.k.a. The Blade, two-time Super Bowl champion, World Bowl champion, high school state champion in Florida. Everywhere he's been a champion. And, I mean, the guy that I owe my professional short career to. My family, my guy, man, just super excited about having the Blade. I don't think the Blade lost the bowl game in any year he played at FSU. And we gonna get into it, man. We got my guy, Blade. What's up? Welcome to the lounge, dog.
Hey, it's an honor, man. Hey, thank y'all for having me, man.
Cool. So the rules in the lounge. I saw you already had the stick. All right. Twin P, what's up, twins? We pour up, we let our hair down, and we just kick it, man. We just kick it. And we kind of go from there, man. So with that being said, welcome to the lounge. Thank you for your time. And let's get into it, Blue.
Man, I mean, there's so many places to start, man. Listen, my guy, Mr. Campbell's in the chat, Florida guy himself, talking about who you played with throughout your career, that Auburn Sugar Bowl
No
back
tie.
in the day.
No tie, Mr. Campbell. No tie.
No tie, but
my bad, Blue. My bad. I forgot all about the Auburn tie. My bad.
I graduated from Auburn, but listen, I want Bournesville after that, so we'll let that one slide. But man, the first question, Dedrick, is you were born in New Jersey, but came down to Florida to play high school ball, and everyone knows the stigma around Florida high school football. Man, I think it's some of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. How big of an adjustment was that coming from up north and having to come down to Florida, man, and adjust to that culture?
I was raised by a lot of different people. Thank God for grandmothers, my grandmother and my aunties and my uncles and my brother's grandmother, because we got different fathers, kind of raised me up north. And so when I got to the 10th grade, my great-grandmother, who lived in Marbury, Florida, Full of Heights, Full of Heights is the suburb of Marbury. I just want y'all to know. It's the suburb. Yeah, you'll get that later on. It's the suburb of Marbury. But my great-grandmother asked me to come stay, and did I want to come stay with her? And I just was ready for a move. I was trying to be stable. I was moving every other year. I was moving somewhere. And my great-grandmother stepped up, man, and gave me a place to be stable for 3 years. So I moved to Florida in the 10th grade. Never played football before, not organized football. I was a baseball player when I was up north. That's all I played because I was skinny. I was always scared of football. As you may have heard stories, man, the Northeast is really rough with the kids now. They kind of tough, and I was kind of like quiet and reserved. got bullied a little bit when I was up there. When I moved to Florida, I was introduced to. I played organized, not organized, but like touch ball in the street, but never played like helmet pad. But when I got to Marbury, the guys just invited me out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, why don't you play? And then the guys in the neighborhood where I grew up at in Fuller Heights were just so supportive. So I got a lot of support, and those guys gave me confidence. And then once I went out, they saw that I have athletic ability, but they worked with me. It wasn't jokes. It wasn't teasing. It was all about family and all of us just like working together. And that gave me confidence. And once I got that confidence, the rest is history. Because once they gave it to me and I felt like, I was good, oh, man, then the rest is history. But I owe a lot to Fuller Heights and my Fuller Heights family and Marbury High School and the students that were there who just welcomed me as family and gave me the confidence, you know what I mean? Because everywhere I went, man, I played for them. You know what I mean? Coach Fred to tell you, like, you know what I'm saying, I wear it on my shoulder, now on my back. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for Marbury and Fuller Heights, I would never be where I'm at right now.
Did you, being a kid from the Northeast, did you think about going back there for college, or did you know you wanted to stay down south, play in the state of Florida, where you ultimately committed to Florida State?
When I got the scholarship, when I started getting letters, when I was a senior, because the year before, now even though Marbury is small, the year before we had someone go to the University of Miami. His name was Brian Smith. He played tight end at the University of Miami. It was just ironic. Then the next year I didn't know nothing about colleges at all. I had a really good position coach that coached me wide receiver and defensive back. His name was Vic Smith. He graduated from Bethune-Cookman. He was my position coach. Very good. Prepared me for the next level. I wanted to, when I started getting offers, I wanted to go back north because I want to prove, you know what I'm saying, I want to be back northeast because that's where, a lot of my family was still living at. So Pittsburgh was recruiting me, and then something fell off with that right there. I thought I was going to Pittsburgh, and then Florida State came, and when I sat in front of the OG, Bobby Bowden, and Bobby just said, and I didn't know nothing about Florida State, Florida. I swear I was so green as far as everything. I just played sports because I love to play sports. I didn't know nothing about colleges and things like that. But when I had a trip to Florida State, and Coach Bowden just asked me, "Are you coming here?" I just said, "Yeah." And the rest is history. Even to this day, me knowing what I know about schools and colleges, now, of course, I'm more adept about things. I would still go to Florida State. I just think I came up with one of the all-time best classes ever, you know what I'm saying, in the nation. I couldn't have picked a better school. I couldn't have picked a better class than the class of 85 to be a part of. And for us to start that dynasty, to be the basement for it, to be the foundation for it, Deion Sanders and Sammy Smith and Peter Tom Willis, and all those guys, man. It just was tremendous, man. Just truly blessed, to tell you the truth.
Go ahead, Coach.
With that, of course, I know the stories and all that, but you had an opportunity. It came down to Florida State and Louisville, and then you're playing 3 sports in high school, and you have that injury in basketball. Was that the thing that Louisville fell off on and Florida State stayed there?
I think it was Coach Bowden. I don't even remember seeing the Louisville coach. I don't know if Howard Schnellenberger was there. I know I had a decent time. It was decent when I went there because that's when Purvis Ellenson was there. Louisville basketball was really good. They took us to the basketball game. My first official visit ever. So that visit was cool. But then I go to Florida State, and the visit was a little extra. You know what I'm saying? It was a little more that they did. And then I don't think the Louisville coach, whoever he was, and I apologize, I don't remember him, but I remember Bobby asking me, you know what I mean? Are you coming here? And I just said yes. And that was my last visit because Coach Smith was mad because I was taking trips and stuff. I wasn't nothing but a 6 man on the basketball team, but he said I should be playing basketball and helping the team out. So it
And
all worked out though. It all
and with
worked out.
that, it did. But we go back and like Zach was asking you earlier, the initial coming from Jersey was to be a baseball player with the Yankees,
Yes.
the Mets.
Yep.
And you always say that you were a better baseball player than football player.
Yep. It was
And
my favorite
like I
sport.
said, the neighborhood, I know all the people there and how it kind of went. But batting left, right-handed, uh, do you think you could have played college baseball?
I could have. I sure could have. And that was my dream. So I got hurt. I got hurt playing basketball. My senior year, I came down on my shoulder, and I thought I could play both. I don't think Florida State knew how good of a baseball player I was. I don't think they knew, and then I was like fourth string, so I had to make a decision that I want to like walk on because Coach Brown only let a couple guys play in the spring, and that was Deion Sanders, Victor Floyd, and Ronald Lewis. Everybody else had to go to spring practice, but it worked out for me anyway. I think just now as it is, everything just fell and worked out for me the right way because I was fourth string in the spring, moved up to second string, and never gave it up to the guys that I moved ahead. But you had to be there practicing, you know what I'm saying, to be able to hold them other guys off.
And I tell Zach about it, and he knows about the Florida football, but just kind of give the insight to the people, to the listeners about our area, man. The guys that came out, maybe not college, but guys that came from our area that went pro during your era all the way up to now. I mean, because it's unbelievable when you sit back and you think about the area.
You really don't notice until you look back up on it. I came in a class. It was me and Odell Higgins, who's now the associate head coach. It was five of us that came from Polk County. When we signed at Florida State from Polk County is really a Florida Gator county. It really still is, but not like it used to be. But I think a lot of people started following when they were following us five that went to Florida State. And we kind of like opened the door, the floodgates to, have another school to go to because Florida really had a stronghold on Polk County. So you say Odell Hagen, Shelton Thompson, who from Lake Gibson. He got a shot in the NFL. I think he was with the Buccaneers. And then, you had Alvin Harper, which is that. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl cat. Let's talk about the jury that we got. First of all, I know Ray got two. Ray Lewis has two. That's Polk County.
Baby
You
Ray.
got Alvin Harper, they got two. May got three. You got Kenny Gant. No, he got two. And I might be shorting them guys one. You know what I'm saying? Dedrick Dodge got two. I'm not talking about not just playing in the NFL, but we was fortunate enough to get to the NFL and be a part of teams that won Super Bowl championships. I'm so proud because, as small as Marbury is, you know what I mean? Someone, and I owe it to all those guys in Marbury and Fuller Heights that put me in the position to be able to have that confidence to go there, to be able to make the team. You had Travis Henry, that was Frost Proof. What is it, CJ Hudson?
I forgot all about
Coach
Travis
Fred.
and
Yeah,
CJ.
Coach Fred.
And
You got,
CJ.
yeah, man. Of course, we got Darren James now. You had, what's my boy, the offensive lineman from Haines City. That lives in Atlanta now.
Gandy.
That went to Auburn.
Wayne Gandy.
Wayne Gandy was there.
I forgot about Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne Gandy. So what's the running back? The little quick, fast running back that went to Florida that got some shot up there. The Ponce twins. They got injured. You know what I mean? It's just to be Polk County.
Chris
There's
Rainey.
a lot of Chris Rainey, the Ponce twins. A lot of guys have come through that. And then you talk about basketball. You talk about Marsh Stoudemire. You talk about Tracy McGrady. So there was a lot of athletes for us to be around just our county that made us real proud and, gave us the motivation to be able, and be proud of the county that we came from.
Man,
I'll let you take it, B, because I can keep going.
I mean, Mr. Campbell's even in the chat, dropping names too with Travis Henry going to Tennessee and everything
Right.
like that. But
Mhm.
just your signing class, man. I think you mentioned it briefly about how that 85 class was the foundation for what everything Florida State was, winning natties in the 90s and even going on through the Bowden era, winning games at the highest level that program's ever been. Talk about arriving to campus and looking around and seeing all those guys. And when did you know that class was going to be as special and as important as it ended up being?
When we took the team picture, that's when I knew we were special. Because I had heard, see, the way it is now with the stars, and back then it was Parade All American and things like that. It wasn't one star,
Street
two star,
Smith.
three stars. Yeah, it wasn't like that then. So even though I'm signed with this class, I had got with that it was the number one class in the nation. I still don't know what that means because I don't know nothing about college or football. Only thing I knew about when I was in Jersey, we knew about Penn State because Penn State ran the East. So I still ain't know. But when we took the team picture, they dressed us in white jerseys, and the rest of the team had garnet. So it wasn't a team picture where everybody was dressed alike. That's when I felt that we were special, that they put us in separate jerseys to really signify this is our signing class right here. Deion Sanders, Sammy Smith, Dedrick Dodge, Sheldon Thompson, Kevin Grant, Chris Miller. I mean, Scott Johnson, Peter Tom Willis, Chris London. We had a lot of guys. John Parker, Alfonso Williams, and once we found out we was number one, you couldn't tell us Ed Clark. You couldn't tell us nothing. Keith Carter. I mean, we really and the good all of us, the majority of us stayed together because there wasn't no portal back then. We didn't leave. We stayed all the way till we got to be seniors. Yeah. But we knew then that we were good. Like, I don't think nobody knew how good Deion was. Or Sammy Smith. Both of them went first round. Nobody knew how good Deion was. He didn't have spectacular statistics at North Fort Myers. But when he came in, he jogged the 4.3. Man, Sammy Smith was like the 100-meter, 200-meter champion his junior year in the state of Florida. This is what this dude was. And so, like, they raced. I don't know who won, but it might have been even or whatever. And I just remember, like, man, these guys are special. And then as it went on, you really began to see, especially when the next class came in, you began to see like how special our class was, because the next class just topped it off on our class, and it was rolling since then. Really fortunate.
Is there a game or a moment or a memory that really sticks out to you throughout your time at Florida State?
Beat Miami for the first time. It kind of owned us my whole career there. We came close one year. I was part of the reason we lost. I'm gonna still say that. I know some other touchdowns, but I haven't been beat. Mike Irvin beat me on the fade. I was supposed to be in the deep half, and I'm still chasing Mike Irvin to this day. I'm gonna catch him one day though. Still ain't caught Mike Irvin. I ain't been beat. I'm telling you, I ain't been beat on the fade since 1987. When I coach day safeties, I tell them that. You know what I mean? The fade is the most important route. You know what I'm saying? I got a little greedy, looked at the seam. But my senior year, we finally beat Miami at home, and that was really special because now I can at least say I beat Miami one time at least, just to be able to beat them, because they were really good. That was Miami when they were the U. You know what I mean? Back in them days, with Jimmy Johnson and things like that. So that was my most memorable game. A lot of memorable games, but that was the most special to me.
I know Coach wants to get into this too, but we weren't able to get a clip of it, do some copyright stuff. But the Seminole,
Man.
the Seminole rap, man. I mean, one of the most viral moments in the late '80s, coming out of college football. Give us the behind the scenes of how did that come together? And I know everyone's saying, I've kind of listened to some clips and everything. Everyone's saying that you were one of the main writers for the team. How true is that? Did you help everyone write their verses?
It was me and the guys in general, yes. we did kind of like, I think Prime kind of like wrote his own. But we was all kind of together. We helped the rest of them, Odell Higgins and Peter Tom and those guys. Don't get on my boy Odell, man. We kind of helped them guys. But people think that I was like the originator of it. I wasn't. What happened was, and let me say this here: if we had a chance to do it again, we wouldn't have done it. That knowing what we know now, we ain't know nothing about bullet board material, and you know what I'm saying. We just was cocky because we had just barely lost in Miami the year before by 1 point because we went for 2, and we had just about everybody back, and we just felt we was gonna walk into the national championship. We really did, and that was a mistake. And so it was just, I don't know the guy. He was in the sports department or the whatever. He just came to me because he heard that I used to rap and I was an entertainer, so I'm always entertaining and things. And he said, "Man, would he wanted to do a Seminole rap. Could I recruit some guys to do it?" And so I don't think Bobby really wanted to do it at first, but he saw the enthusiasm of everybody in the team, and he let it slide. He let it go. If we had to do it again, we wouldn't have done it. But I wasn't the one that said, "Let's do it." It was somebody else that came to me, and it was his plan. I forget his name. But it was his plan. He put it together, put us in the studio. We did all the little raps. And look, even though we got smashed, people still play the Seminole rap to this day. Yeah, they like the Seminole rap, and seeing Dion and seeing me and seeing Odell. You know what I mean? Odell's one of the best rappers on there. That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? And John Brown and all of them, man. But we got smashed 31-0. And it's crazy. We get beat 31-0 at Miami and then win 11 straight.
Mm.
Won 11 straight.
Do you think, Coach, I'll toss it to you after this, if you guys would have won that game, how different would the history of the Seminole rap be if you guys go out there
and like the Bears?
That's true, like
the Chicago Bears. It would have been classic. It would have been like the Chicago Bears. But let me tell you what would have happened, though. I don't know if we'd have been that hungry, though. Because it don't take but you feeling yourself for a little bit, you know what I mean, for you to have a stumble. Because I think teams then, Miami put it to bed, which that nobody watched it the rest of the year. And so we were so embarrassed, it refocused us to be able to win 11 straight. If we'd have beat Miami, man, you couldn't have told us nothing. Our heads would have been floating so high. Somebody would have sparked us during that season, because our heads would have been so big. When we got smashed by Miami, it humbled us and refocused us to play the year that we played that year.
With that, man, and college football was so different then, because if you lost one, it was pretty much done. And you go through that 31-0, you run off 11 in a row, bowl game, you come back that next year. And just, I don't think people understand the secondary that you played in. Prime on a corner. You got Terrell on a corner. You got Leroy Butler at the safety. You at the safety. The linebackers were no joke. And if you could talk about just the practice, man, how were the practices? Because I know the format is pretty much still the same. It was still the same, for years. The 7-on-7, because the receivers on that team were lights out as well.
Fab Four. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
It was even before that, it was Martin Mayhew, who was the general manager for the Washington Commanders. Martin Mayhew was there, who ended up playing for the Bucks, and I think played for Washington. He was from Tallahassee. There wasn't that many Florida State players that was in the league. You had Bobby Butler and Weegie Thompson and Ron Sellers. There was a few, but it wasn't many. So we really didn't have a lot of people to look at on the wall. But the class that we can, Deion Sanders is the same Deion Sanders as he is now. Wherever he goes, he amps up the energy, the confidence. He's just been gifted with that. Deion Sanders really brought swag to Florida State. Miami was swag first. Yeah, I give it to him. You know, Miami was already doing them, Oklahoma, Nebraska, really Oklahoma, because remember them boys, Oklahoma, man, them boys wearing minks. Jamel Holloway and them boys were riding up there, Oklahoma, Barry Switzer. So I say Barry Switzer, Oklahoma and Miami was the ones that were swagged out first. But when Prime came, Deion came to college with Prime Time on his tag of his college. So it wasn't, you know, he'll say, "Oh, I made up." He can't. Prime Time was on the front. I remember seeing it. He had a burnt orange Firebird. Prime Time was on the front. He came in like that. When I tell you the quietest, most chill guy outside of the camera that you'll meet is Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? It's Deion. But when them lights come on, but he was the one that really infused the swag in it. He came in when the gloves open. He came in with the towel hanging down to his knee. And Bobby just let us do it. He's like, they're going to play well. He just, because that wasn't Bobby Bowden. He was kind of not hardcore Joe Paterno. You know, Joe going to keep it clean, like, you know, the helmets, but no, all that. But Bobby just let us, like, man, let him ride, man. This is the kind of, this is the changing of the guard as far as the athletes that's coming in here. Let them have fun, as long as they're not getting in trouble. So Deion really brought that swag up in there. Man, practice every day was game day. To this day, for me, every day is game day. You did not want to like lose at practice and have to go to the cafeteria and listen to jokes on how you got the best of, or somebody caught a bomb on you, or how you got ran over. So the competition was tremendous. Every day was game day. You know, like I say, man, I played. Sammy Smith went first round. I played with Amp Lee. I played with Edgar Bennett. You know what I mean? I played with Dexter Carter. I played with the Fab Four, Bruce Hussein, Terry Anthony, Lawrence Darcy, Ronald Lewis.
LD.
All them cats played in the NFL. I mean, this was every day in practice that we went at each other. It wasn't no. And I remember when I was coaching at this level, I was at a college, and the head coach was mad because we were thudding. I had the DBs thudding. He was like, "Did you thud? Would you hit Peter Wark?" Even though I didn't play with Pete. But they was like, "Would you have hit Peter Wark like that if you were going to school?" I said, "Yes, that's what we did." Everybody was right. It wasn't no gold shirts or no red. It was, all you got to do is interview Coach Andrews, and he will tell. Coach Andrews is a junction boy. You seen the movie? It was everything legal. You know what I mean? If you didn't hit around Coach Andrews, it was somebody coming to tap you on your shoulder to pull you to the sideline. I mean, period. He was the most hard-nosed dude. Like, you get to the ball, so every day was game day, which really helped a guy like Dedrick Dodge, who never had aspirations for the next level. That prepared me for every level that I went up to, because that's how we practiced every single day.
And you know, it's funny you speak on that, because that's where I was going with it. So just to give insight, man, those rooms were loaded. The quarterback room, you waited your turn. You talking about Peter Tom, you talk about Casey Weldon, and so on. The running back room.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but since you're saying that,
No.
before I forget, let's talk about the quarterbacks my senior year. Okay, Peter Tom Willis didn't start till his senior year. So we had Peter Tom Willis was the starter. We had Casey Weldon, backed him up, played in the NFL. Peter Tom Willis played in the NFL. Casey Weldon backed him up. Brad Johnson backed him up. And Charlie Ward was our fourth-string quarterback in the punter.
And nobody believed me when I tell them that Charlie Ward punted his first 2 years in college. He didn't play quarterback.
He was our best punter. Charlie
Which
Ward.
is crazy.
Charlie Ward
Which is
punted the
insane.
ball. Charlie Ward was our punter my senior year. Charlie Ward. Heisman Trophy winning Charlie Ward.
Which is
NBA
insane.
veteran Charlie Ward. State champion in basketball as a high school basketball coach. Yeah, that guy, man, was the fourth string quarterback and stayed and waited his turn. And all four of them guys played professional ball. Professional ball.
Yeah.
Charlie went basketball, all the other three. Brad won a Super Bowl ring. PT went to Chicago. Casey went to Tampa. You know what I'm saying? In their time. Yeah.
And you talk about that running back room, Sammy, Dexter, Amp Lee, who I think is the most underrated college
Mar-
football player.
Marion Butts.
I forgot all about Marion Butts, the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you talk about the state of college football. It was never a deal of I'm leaving. I mean, you guys just stayed there. You stayed the course, the whole nine. Uh, and you could transfer then, but it was more
You
like
could.
dropping down a level.
And you had to
But
sit out a year or something like that back then. It was harder. Yeah. I'm not,
but
I'm going to
but
say
that was
this
never
here.
a talk over in Burt Reynolds about
Never,
leaving.
never. That era, I'm going to say again to the people who's all listening, Dedrick Dodge would not change his era. The era. The class, first of all, the class I came in and the era I came in. I don't care how much NLI money these guys get. I would not change it. And because we was family, guys are not family no more. Everybody chasing the bag. That's their right now. I'm not faulting them for that. But I'm saying as far as the brotherhood that we have, all we had was each other. And we all lived together. We all ate together. Like now, I mean, I think guys eat with different guys. We didn't have that. It was football. Everything we did was together, and that's what made us so close. There is no class, and I challenge. I don't think there is no class. And Florida State close, just like the Miami Hurricanes. They're close. But there's no class closer than 85. Ain't no class. If you have any event at Florida State and they say bring back the classes and all like that, 85 gonna always be the deepest classes because we was the ones that was always together. You know what I'm saying? We just played for each other. We was together the whole nine. It wasn't when we stayed in Copa Terrace, it was all of us. When we stayed in Burt Reynolds, it was all of us. It was straight football players. It was nobody else to be able to infiltrate to change your mind. And we policed each other far as in there. You know, a lot of things the guys go through now. It's just a different generation now. Big up to this generation. I wouldn't want to be in it. I don't care how much money. I like the era where we was in, man, where we were really, truly family. You know what I mean? You got guys now, man, going to Port out for 1 year. You might come in with that guy. You come in with him, and you might have talked him into coming with you, and he'd be like, I ain't playing, and he gone somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But it's free agency now, and that's just the way college game is now. I wouldn't trade my era for none of it. When Nebraska was Nebraska, and Penn States, and the USC's, and Notre Dame's, Rocket Ismail, and all them boys, man, and Major Harris at West Virginia. You
Major
know what I'm talking
Harris.
about in
Wow.
Colorado,
There's a
man.
name.
The enemy and them boys toting that thing, man. It still was live, and those guys stayed the whole time. It's not gonna ever happen now. So I don't care what nobody say. The cat's gonna chase the bag, and that's just his free agency now. So it makes it a little difficult. And that might have ran old Nick out of there. You know what I'm saying? Nick, this ain't
And
what he grew up under. You know what I'm saying? Nick,
uh,
like, man, you can have this here. Yeah.
Mr. Campbell brought up a name, Danny McManus. I forgot all about him.
Oh,
Uh,
Danny Mack, the one of the CFL Hall of Famers, I think. Danny
yeah,
Mack, man, used to play. Yeah, Danny Mack.
I forgot all about him.
Hassan Jones, who went to the Minnesota Vikings. Jesse
Hassan
Hester.
Jones.
Jesse Hester, who
Jesse
went to the
Hester.
Ravens. Yeah, man. Yeah, we had some cats that you looked up to far as that. I went against all them guys. Not Jet. The Jet was gone before I get there, but Hassan Jones was a senior when I got there. Yep. Hassan Jones, man.
I mean,
How
Meg,
go ahead, Vic, my bad.
I'm about to say before we shift to the NFL side of this show, man, I want to ask about Bobby Bowden, man. You know, a lot of people, obviously mention him as some of the greatest of all time to do it. What was he like as a head coach, and what was his relationship with you guys behind the scenes?
It's a Christian guy. Just a guy that followed the cloth. Was real strong in the faith. Father figure for guys that didn't have fathers. Very understanding. Let his coaches coach. You better be ready for some trick plays. Just an all-around good dude. You know, I say all the time, man, I've had good coaches everywhere I've been. Coach Bowden was my head coach, but Coach Andrews was my coach. And so, but Coach Bowden was the head coach of the team, and Coach Bowden was an offensive guy. So my coach that I dealt with every day was Coach Mickey Andrews, and I was really truly blessed to have a group of coaches that stayed together for a while. You know what I mean? Like now, Nick Saban was losing coach. He lose some 2-3 coaches every single year. He losing, because they're going to be head coaches. That didn't happen when we was there. Mark Rick was on our staff when we was there. Wiley Burnham was there. Chuck Amato was there. Coach Andrews was there. And all these guys stayed together for a while before Chuck got NC State. And I think I forgot, but Wiley went to South Carolina. And then Mark Rick, of course, went to Georgia. But that didn't happen immediately. Those guys were together for a long time. And there's no doubt in their mind that, they more Florida State than anywhere else that they've been. Coach Bowden just was an awesome guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Coach Bowden and just how he treated everybody, how he treated me. And he always was so good at remembering your name. I don't care when you graduated from there. And he'd be like, hey, just Dedrick, man, I remember. It's like he had a steel trap mind. And this is the thing I love about Coach Bowden the most. He was a family guy. And so, like, on Wednesdays, Coach Bowden let the coaches bring their families to eat with the players. So we was able to interact, see the coaches, see their wives, see their kids. And he let the basketball players come in and eat with us. So on Wednesdays was steak and shrimp night, and we was able to see all the coaches' wives and their kids, and we see the basketball players. You know what I mean? So it was a family atmosphere. And so anytime that when you graduated and you went back to Florida State, you didn't have to too much contact nobody. You just show up and you had the red carpet treatment. You know what I'm saying? When you went back, that's how Bobby was. And Jimbo did the same thing when Jimbo took over. I mean, we can go there right now and they would be like, oh, Dedrick Dodge, you know what I'm saying? And, the doors be open. You can go in the coach's office. He just created that family atmosphere. And Norvell's doing the same thing. Coach Norvell's doing the same thing right now. Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach.
So when you and everybody talks about it, like you said, before we get to the pro side of things, Dion talks about it. You talk about it. Terrell talks about it. Odell talks about it. What made Coach Andrews so special past football? Past football, man. What made Coach Andrews so special?
He didn't care about your feelings. You check your feelings at the door. Who cared nothing about your feelings? He cared about winning. He cared about toughness. He cared about hard nose. He cared about getting to the ball. When I tell you that was the most intense man on the field, but he had the sweetest wife. We used to be like, we don't know how you married this guy. Off the field, Coach Andrews was loving. We had a sign that we ran across that said enthusiasm. As soon as you crossed that sign to get on the field, Coach Andrews turned into Jekyll, or if it's Hyde, whichever the one, the gremlin or whatever you turn into, he turned into that dude. And he was on everybody. He pushed you to be the best that you can be and did not care about how you felt about it, period. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about tough love. He just really coached hard. Coach McDuffie did the same thing on the other side. He was the offensive coordinator. We had some hard-nosed coaches, man, that really was hard on us, but loved us off the field. When Coach Andrews saw you in the cafeteria, he would hug your neck. Why you make me fuss at you like that? Why you just ain't get to the ball? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to get to the ball. I'm talking to you all night, you be mad. But Coach Andrews did not play. To this day, I'm telling you, everybody has a Coach Andrews story. And everybody that's played for him got mad respect for him. You see what I'm talking about? You just look at the DBs. At one time, we was DBU at one time. You know what I mean? As we was putting out DBs, cornerbacks, you know what I'm saying, and safeties left and right. That's Coach Andrews. Coach Andrews bred that in us. You know what I'm talking about? Straight hitters. You know what I mean? For me, like I said, you said Coach Fred, like when I was there, it was me, Leroy, Pat Watkins came after us. I mean, you can go on and on with the guys that came in them eras that came after us, you know what I'm saying, as far as that. But Coach Andrews just was a hard-nosed guy on the field. He loved you off the field, but he gonna drill you hard. But that man went to Alabama. That man was a junction boy where they just gave him salt tablets. But they drink water. They drink, you know what I'm saying? That way he ain't know no better, man. Yeah, so awesome
Why
guy,
you
love him. To
why
this
you
day,
think
I
he never
don't know
went
too
to
many
be a
people
head coach, man?
huh?
Why do you think he never went to be a head coach?
I think Coach Andrew just like really being, I don't know if the situation was right. Let me just me speak from the outside in. I ain't never asked him. I just think like now there's some good jobs that come open. I don't know if he got any good jobs offers. You know what I'm talking about? Where he could continue to win like he did at Florida State. You know, and another thing might have been his family. He might have just been comfortable just staying, like a lot of the coaches did. Because the ones who left, they went to you know, some good D1 programs. I'm glad he stayed because I always loved going back to Florida State and seeing the coaches that was there when I was there. That knew you when you was a pup. When I was a pup, 153 pounds, and come through and you know what I'm saying. And so I mean, that's a close coaching staff, man. From Billy Sexton, and, Jim Gladden, the Mickey Andrews, Chuck Amato, Mark Rick, John Eason, who coached the Fab Four, who ended up, you know, I think being the AD at FAMU, who went to FAM. Jimmy
Hmm.
Higgins was there. I remember Skip Post was a GA for us at one time. You know what I'm saying? He was there as a GA. Just a tremendous time and experience that I came through. Like I said earlier in this podcast that I was blessed to have good coaches everywhere I've been. So I mentioned Vic Smith at Marlbury. I mentioned Coach Bowden and Coach Andrews at Florida State.
The NFL, man. You undrafted free agent, and you wind up over your career winning 2 Super Bowls in your career, man. I want to go to the first one because you always hear the NFL players talk about just the feeling coming out of the tunnel, sitting there during the national anthem, and just how you're so overwhelmed with emotions. You see guys just cry on the sidelines before that game. Talk about the feeling of that first Super Bowl game you got to play in.
First of all, I never even thought I was going to the NFL. I graduated early in the fall of '89. I graduated in the fall of '89. I only had one class. I graduated in the fall, and I was working at Anheuser-Busch in Newark, New Jersey. I went back to Jersey. I was working. My auntie helped me get the job at Anheuser-Busch, and this one little agent kept calling me, man. Kept calling me. I don't know how he got my number. His name was Mike Mosman. Cat kept calling me, man. And you sure you don't want to try out? And you know, I never thought about the NFL. Like when I was in high school, I never thought about college. You talking about a blessed cat? You know what I'm saying? So I never thought about it. But Mike Mosler hit me with this line. He said, "You don't want to be like what if." And what he meant by that is like you don't want to be down the line like I am right now, but like and watching Super Bowls, be like, I wonder if I could have played. That was a tremendous. That line right there sparked me. Like, you're right. He said you might as well try. So I came back and I stayed with some of the guys in the dorms. And Leroy Butler said, you know, like because I couldn't even lift weights. I just got an operation on my shoulder. But Leroy said because Leroy's going to be drafted high. He said when the scouts come, I'm gonna call you and you can work out with me. That's exactly what he did. And then my Seattle came to look at Leroy, and they watched the Miami game from my senior year, and I had a couple good hits then. And his name was Joe Vick. Joe Vick coached in Seattle, was at New Orleans for a long time, and he was from Jersey. So he called me up and he said, if we don't draft you late, we'll sign you as a free agent. That's when it was 12 rounds. I ain't get drafted in 12 rounds. But sure, I'm trying to tell you, man. And then he brought me in. But when I went to Seattle, I knew I could play there, even though I got caught in the numbers that first year. And then the World League came out in the spring, played for London. We won the championship. Seattle brought me back. All right, played for Seattle 2 years, got released, was out of football in 1993. who helped me stay in shape and stay relevant was Coach Fred right there, Coach Leroy Frederick. And me and Coach Fred used to go to Marbury High School, and we ain't had no ball, no quarterback. It was me and him, and we just did drills. Me and that man right there that I'm looking at right now. And he kept me in shape. And then San Fran worked me out like 4 times. And they said, if we don't sign you in the season, we're going to sign you afterwards. And so then they signed me. Little did I know the team that I signed with. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know it was going to be all them dudes, but I had to make it. I beat out a 6th-round draft pick, a guy that was 6th round from the year before, who was very good. But they kept me, I think, because I was a better special teams player. But getting to the Super Bowl, man, you know what? I'm going to tell you, let me say this. We played San Diego in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl for us was Dallas in the NFC Championship game. Because Dallas had whooped the 49ers 2 years in a row. And so the Niners went out and got Dion to try to compete with Mike. And we just was missing a few pieces. We went and got Charles Mann and Ricky Jackson and Gary Plummer and Ken North. Stacked the deck, bro. We really did. Went out. Let's show you how good Dallas was. And we still barely beat them boys. That's how good Dallas was. We stacked the deck and still had to win with the last card in our hand. You know what I'm saying? A 4 spade there, a 3. I mean, that's how good they was. But when we already knew, and I'm not lying, when they assembled that team, the whole atmosphere was we was going to win the Super Bowl. Not go to the Super Bowl. It was that we was going to win the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what happened. We had just smashed San Diego early in the season. I mean, smashed them. And we smashed them again on Super Bowl day. You know what I mean? Dallas was the game that we had to get over. It's kind of like Buffalo now. Buffalo cannot get over that hump of Kansas City. You know what I mean? I hate to jump the tracks like that, but that's what they're going through. Got good teams. For some reason, Pat Mahomes got their number. You see what I'm talking about? And that's how it was with Troy Aikman and them. Steve Young was able to win his first and only Super Bowl and get that monkey off his back that Joe Montana won 4 and you won none. You can't get him to the next. You see what I'm saying? And so that was tremendous. That whole year was a tremendous feeling. And then being able to come back and share it with Marbury, Coach Fred, and all my homeboys, because I'm from a small town. And now a small town like Marbury, it's not just me that got a Super Bowl. It's all of us that got a Super Bowl because it was because of all of them that put me in the situation that I was in.
Go ahead,
you
Coach.
talk about that. Until you just said that, I forgot Steve Young only won one.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. As great as his career was, I forgot all about that till you said that. He only won one. And, they talk about the franchise, and I got a chance to see that firsthand with you when they came to the Super Bowl a couple years ago in New Orleans. And they invited all you guys back. And you were like, hey, we going. So we go over, Zach, and we go to New Orleans to this San Fran function, and they invite every player back, the Super Bowl guys, the whole 9. And it's red carpet. I have no affiliation whatsoever to San Fran, but I got red carpet. I still got that lanyard. They gave me a lanyard. I'm in there big time. And what's the guy? He was an activist. Played with San Fran.
I know you're talking about part of the Black Panthers and stuff like that. Harry Edwards.
Man, he sat there and talked to us for a couple hours. Frank Gore, the Barlow family, just to see all that firsthand, man. And San Fran was really that deal. I mean, Merton Hank came over and talked to us like, and D walks off and he's sitting there talking to me like, man, he'll play the secondary together. I'm like, I don't even know I'm supposed to be in this party, but I'm in it. So we chilling, man, just kicking it. And, you leave San Fran and then you walk into another situation with Denver, with another Hall of Fame quarterback, man, with another Hall of Fame front office. You talk about luck of the draw. And as you said, blessed. What was that like to walk into that deal and have that in front of you like John Elway? Because John Elway was that guy at that point.
They were going through the same thing that San Fran went through with Dallas. And Coach Shanahan became the head coach at Denver. So Shanahan was the offensive coordinator at San Fran when I was there. And so if you second string, you got to run scout team. I done told you every day is game day for me. There ain't no scout team. They'll tell you now, we can't hit now. But as far as my instincts and breaking on everything, man, I ain't run what them cards said. Once I lined up where I lined up at, I was playing like it was the game. But Steve Young and them always like that. And so did Shanahan. I find out later. And so like when I got released by San Fran, Coach Shanahan, I think his name was Neil Dowling, they just sent me a contract. Did not work me out at all. Just sent me a contract. Coach Shanahan was trying to put as many 49ers of guys that been through the playoffs in that situation on Denver's team as he could. And he did. He put Eddie McCaffrey on there. He had me. He had Derek DeVale. Yeah, man. It was about, I don't know, about 5 or 6 of us. And Shanahan told me when he met with me, he said, you know why I signed you? He said, because I remembered how you used to practice against us on scout team. He said, that's the kind of like energy and mentality that we need here to get us over the hump. Exactly. Because I was wide open. I mean, I'm running to the ball, Ricky Waters trying to strip him. Because Shanahan used to give you $25 a strip. If you strip the ball in practice. I'm trying to get that change. I wasn't making that money. I'm trying to get that change. Yeah. And so then we get there, and it's like, other than the running game, it feel like I'm at San Fran the way everything is going. And John Elway came and introduced himself to me, just so humble. Shannon Sharp, they treated you like family. It wasn't as many superstars. San Fran was full of superstars. Jay Rice and all them guys, man. Denver was kind of blue collar like, Steeler kind of like attitude. And everybody was playing. I'm gonna tell you, man. I know cats be like, I'm playing for myself, playing for the team. Cat, we playing for John Elway, man. Cats want to see John Elway win, get one. You know what I mean? Because he had been to a couple, man, and then Jacksonville had beat him the year before. So that was really our goal, and we were like the first wild card team to be able to go through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. We played Jacksonville at home. And then we played, it was either Pittsburgh first or Kansas City first. But we played both of them at their place. And beat them, went to the Super Bowl, and then had to beat the defending Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers, who people say we weren't going to beat. Yeah, tremendous.
You know, it is funny that you talked about the you know, your effort in practice and effort at practice squad, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was a tweet from Shannon Sharp where someone tried to call him out for saying that it's harder to get open in practice than even it is in the game because your teammates are so competitive. And I think he named you by name and said,
he named me.
Yeah, Dedrick Dodge was the hardest defensive back it was to get open in my career. When you hear something like that, when he first tweeted out, how competitive was it between a Shannon Sharp and you in practice every single day?
It was I'm gonna tell you what they said about it. I'm gonna go all the way back to Seattle. And this we taking it back to Florida. It's just something about, and I'm, you know, and I always gotta make the correction. I'm from Jersey, but I learned the game in Florida. So a guy corrected me with that. You're not from Florida. Yeah, I wasn't born in Florida, but I rep Florida, man. And it's something about Florida athletes when they go from Florida. It's year round how we play, and it's confidence. It's Florida guys on seem like every college team. Somebody needs a Florida guy because it's the mentality. So I remember going to Seattle, and I remember players like, oh, man, we got to deal with these Florida State, Florida guys because we came in with such high confidence. We believe we belong. We believe we was going to do it. That's how I looked at it. I played against all you guys. We played independent when I was at Florida State. So the majority of the guys that I played against in the NFL, I played against them in Florida State. We played Clemson. We played Auburn. We played LSU. Jim Harbaugh was at Michigan. Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback in Michigan. We lost to them 2018. We played Michigan State. We played Nebraska. We played Miami every year. And we played Florida every year. I done played a lot against these dudes, so I felt like we were just moving up. I am a winner, mentality-wise, because how I was raised at Marbury, how I was raised at Florida State, that when I got to the NFL, I was not in awe of those dudes. I respected them, but I was not in awe. And I wanted to check them and beat them. I always wanted to prove that I belonged there. Chip on my shoulder, that undrafted chip. You know what I'm saying? Because you had to beat out somebody every single year to make the team. And that's how I went against Shannon and them, man. Steve Young liked it. John Elway, they liked me going like that. The little scout team coaches, they like it. Oh, you're supposed to do what the card say. But the players, Shannon, they liked it. They say, what you saw. That's what Shannon said in the podcast. I break on the ball. I can't knock it down enough. I got to let him catch it, but I'm right there. What you read? I was like, your hips was high. You know, you do this little same nod or whatever like that. And he took that, man. They loved being practiced against the hardest because then it made it a little easy for them when they went in the game. I told the cats, hey, man, I'm Florida State, man. You know what I'm saying? I just happened to look. Dedrick Dodge is gifted as a career I had, blessed. Every team I played on, I played behind a Pro Bowl safety. Eugene Robinson was a Pro Bowler at Seattle. I played behind Merton Hanks and Tim McDonald. That was Pro Bowl in San Fran. I played behind Steve Atwater and Tyrone Braxton. They was Pro Bowlers in Denver. And then my last year was San Diego. I played behind Rodney Harrison. He was Pro Bowler. So I played behind some really, really good guys, man.
But Coach, before I toss it back to you to build off of that, you've coached at a bunch of different spots, man. Alabama State, Grambling State at the high school level. How have you taken that attention to detail, that intensity, that mentality into your coaching career now, shifting into that? Take it from a player and putting it into other guys now as an assistant coach, as a head coach, whatever it may be.
I teach them the same thing that Coach Vic said to me when I was at Marbury. It has not changed. I mean, it's a habit for me. My motto is, and Diggum, you know my motto. Where my cleats at, Coach Fred?
In the trunk.
I got 3 pair in there right now. I played a flag football game yesterday. 56 years old. Them cats, I'm out there checking guys that's younger than my daughter. You know what I'm talking about? But in my mind, I don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? I just still feel like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still can do it. I mean, not at the same speed, but that's the same mentality I took when I was at State. And then Coach Andrews just, you know, built it up even more. And then when I got in the NFL, because every year in the NFL, really every week, if you're an undrafted free agent or you somebody they picked up, they're working out guys every Monday in the NFL. And your job could be on the line. They can let you go and sign somebody else. You ain't guaranteed no spot like that, like a guy like me. So every week you had to play like it was every day, that it was game day and that you belong. This is what I instill into the guys that I coach. This is there because every level you go up. From little league, you go up a level to JV. You go from JV to varsity, from varsity to college. I don't care what level. It could be D2, D3, NAI. It's still the next level. And then if you're fortunate, you go to the highest level. You see what I'm talking about, which is the NFL or Canada or the NFL Europe or whatever like that. You still got to separate yourself every level you go up. For instance, all these high school guys and guys that, even in the portal, they go to these places. There's still guys that's there that can play. So you can't just like, oh, I made it. No, you ain't make it. Now you going against, when I went to Florida State, I'm going against the best guys in the state of Florida from each county. I got to prove and separate myself from them all over again. This is what I instilled into the guys that I coach, because this is how it's going to be if you get an opportunity to go to these camps and things. You got to do what you got to do to separate yourself. So your mentality has to be, it's game day. Any place I go, man, it's packed in my mind. Any place I'm going, I'm running to the ball, man. For one reason, I think Coach Andrews might be watching. I'm scared. Nah, man, but he just instilled it into me that the same attitude and mentality that Deion Sanders and Leroy Butler, Terrell Buckley, all of us learned at state, but I learned that at Marbury, I instilled to the guys that I coach right now. That's what Coach Andrews did for us, because that's what type of player he was. He instilled in us and how player he was. Hard-nosed, tough, get your behind to the ball, because the camera follows the ball and good things happen when you get to the ball.
That's a
Man,
fact.
that's
Coach,
crazy.
You're so lucky I don't have that footage of you playing safety at that All-Star game. We
Oh,
would have
my
brought it up
goodness.
and let my guy Dedrick grade you on your
Oh, my
safety
goodness.
playing. And it was like 3
See,
months ago, man.
they got
Coach
me,
was
dog.
playing safety at the All-Star game.
No, they didn't get me, but, we'll get to that story. But we used to talk every week. Man. I remember you, one of our conversations, man, never forgot it. J.J. Stokes, I don't know if people remember the name, a high draft
First
pick.
round. Mm-hmm.
Terrell Owens in that same draft class. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, yeah, I know JJ, but we got this dude. I'm telling you now, Terrell going to be better than JJ. And boom, you were right about that. I don't know why that stuck with me when you were talking about just proving yourself every day. Because Terrell wasn't a high draft. But
Came out of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Yep.
He really took
one double A cat.
Yep. He really took to Jerry Rice. All you got to do is look at T.O. Just look at his dress for practice. T.O. wear long black tights. That was Jerry. You see what I'm talking about? And so, like, Jerry groomed him to practice the way he practiced and the whole night. He already had the skill set, just tough and hard-nosed. He just was raw. But he didn't come in like he knew it all. He came in like a sponge. And Jerry kind of took him up under his wing. And look where that got him. You know what I'm saying? As far as his kind, you ain't got to talk about Terrell Owens' confidence. You know my boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, ain't nothing. He always is like that too, man. Always was like that, man. So I played with some guys that wear the gold jackets, man. I am so fortunate. I'm from 3rd Street, full of hype, man. That's where I'm from, man. You know, used to watch my neighbors lift weights up under the oak tree. You know what I'm saying? Rusted weights. Used to play basketball in the park on Sundays, man. 153 pounds when I went to Florida State. You know what I'm talking about? And look, you don't see what you've done until it's, you at the end of the line, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? And so I look back on it and just think how blessed I was to be surrounded by a huddle of people that breathed love and family companionship into me that allowed me to play for more than just myself. I was playing for the hype. I was playing for Marlboro. I was playing for my family. I was playing for Florida State to this day.
And that's one of those things. And we'll keep going, man, so we get you out of here. But what B was just talking about. What B was just talking about. So we had this All-Star game. And they split half and half. So a kid goes down, one of the safeties go down, and they're like, we ain't got nobody else. We got to stop the drill. I'm like, nah, I got it. I forget. I don't stretch. I can't go to the car. It's cleats in the car. I'm in tennis shoes. And boom, it's our quarterback, Aaron Allen. He instantly just starts to try to go at me. But I'm there. I'm not picking it off. I'm letting him catch the ball. But I got that. I'm going 100 miles an hour. But I got something to prove because y'all picking on me. But that ain't how I go. So the next morning, man, I get up and I go to take 2 steps and like, oh my goodness, what happened? And I couldn't figure out for like 2 days, the rest of the camp, before the game. I'm like, what is going on? And then it hit me like, oh man, I didn't stretch. I didn't do nothing. I just jumped out there. It was cold, Mobile cold, and it's windy. And I just jump out and just go at it. But hey, I didn't give it up. Yep. And went hard. Oh yeah. Nah, you never was to be out there talking about how we bombing Coach Fred, bombs over Baghdad. No, sir.
Marbury ain't got no football player. Nope. You from Marbury, man, they soft.
and Aaron's from Texas. So we've had plenty of conversations about where the best football comes from. And I was not gonna let him talk about I told you and all that. So we weren't doing that. But
before you get off that, now that's just my philosophy, and I'm trying the best not to be biased. Texas is a big state with some great football.
I know that.
California is great with some great football. We know what Georgia do. How many teams in California have won national championship? Just want you to think about that, other than USC. All right? Anybody other than USC? Okay. What about Texas? If any other team in Texas win a national championship other than Texas, I'll let y'all ponder that a little bit. Has any other team other than Georgia Tech tied with somebody? So I give it up to Tech, but mainly it's Georgia. Florida's the only state that got 3 universities that got three or more national championships.
4.
Can I say enough said?
Yeah. 4. We're gonna take that UCF and run with it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take that. Georgia Tech took it. We got 4. Hey, look. But I'm just saying that shows you what that state offers. 4. You know what I mean? We'll say 3 and a possible. And they got 3 or more. Miami got more, but Miami got 4 or 5, and Florida State and Florida got 3. No other. You think about Texas. Anybody else won national championship other than University of Texas?
Not in the modern era. Maybe I want to say TCU might have had one in like the 20s or something crazy like that.
1920s. Okay. Yeah. And then you think about Cali. Anybody other than SC?
No, not football.
Talking football. That's what I'm talking football.
Nope.
As good of football players that are there and universities that they got. As good of universities that are there. We know Texas got mad universities from A&M and all of them. UCLA.
Fam, my bad. We got to put Fam in there too.
My guy, Mr. Campbell's gonna.
My bad.
Yeah, Fam did win the first FCS national title. We got to give him that.
Way back. My bad.
Look, and I apologize for that. We take that too. Still Florida.
4 and a possible.
And to be fair, FAMU was the HBCU national champs this year because they won the Celebration Bowl, won the SWAC, so they got 2 right now.
4 and a possible out of the state, ain't no doubt. So when we're talking about it, man, the competition, and it's funny. Me and B was talking about it, this particular subject earlier. I get this CFL private workout for a couple people, and you come out and you really my agent, my fake agent, and we're working out, and you like, hey, look, we ain't running no 40 now, we running the 50. And I don't know if you remember that day we had UCF, and boom, and you yelling, screaming, I'm running, and dude goes 4.48. You remember that day? You was like, that's what I'm talking. I mean, we went stupid, like I just signed with the 49ers or something. But it was Winnipeg. Yep. 4.48 is moving. We talking about it because people were saying how 4.6 and all this is slow, and it's just like, dude, I don't think when people say I run a 4.3, I don't think they understand how fast that is. I don't think they understand how 4.4 is. So when you're out there every day and you're seeing this, it's got to speed your thought process up. So when you come from Florida State and you go to Seattle, I mean, it's already there because you've been Hassan, you've been Amp Lee, you've been those guys.
Dexter Carter run a 4.3. Sammy Smith ran a 4.3. Deion Sanders runs a. I see that speed like Miami Hurricane. I saw that every day in practice, every single day. So it wasn't nothing new to me when I got to that. Matter of fact, and I'm saying, our offense at Florida State was better than the offense that was at my Seattle when I went there. My quarterbacks was better than the quarterbacks that we had in Seattle when I was there. They was. I was breaking up under dig routes. That's how anticipated I was on breaking. You know, they run the Cadillac route post and the dig up underneath. I was breaking up under them. I couldn't do that at Florida State. That quarterback was going to hold me on the post before he threw to that dig. Man, I was breaking up under. I was breaking under the dig, running in front of him. You can't touch him in the NFL. Breaking up under him. I'm going to tell you who we had now. We had John L. Williams and Brian Blades, and then Cortez Kennedy came in. So they was trying to build up, but we wasn't really that good. We was better at Florida State than we was at Seattle. Before they got good and got Chris Warren and Cortez, and he got some more talent to go around.
Mm-hmm. So you get to that, man, and we win that second Super Bowl, and I'm going somewhere with this one. just because of the internet talk. And you leave after that first Super Bowl with Denver, and Denver goes back to the Super Bowl, and this year it's in Miami. And you're like, hey man, we're going to the Super Bowl. So we take off, we go to the Super Bowl in Miami, right? Again, B, I ain't got no business in some of these places, but I'm with my guy, I'm with my fam, and we go to this day party, and it's the first day the teams are getting there, and I'll never forget this day because Puff walked in this party, man, and he had four of the biggest bodyguards I've ever seen in my life. And they had those Taliban masks on, so all you could see with their freaking eyes. But huge, I mean, biggest guys I've ever seen in my life. And me and him been wearing there kicking it. And Shannon Sharp just walks over and just starts talking to us. And it's amazing to me because I'm like, okay, this is Sharp. You know, I've heard the stories, but he daps us up. Him and Blade going back and forth, and it's just a regular conversation. So I'm going somewhere with it. So here in the last month or so, there's been conversations about Shannon's sexuality and all that, and I just wanted to put it to rest on our podcast because you were with it for a whole season. Why all of a sudden is this coming out or
Somebody
being brought
always
up?
trying because he's doing so well right now, and people kind of like people are funny, man, when they try to like find chinks in your armor when someone is doing well. Shannon has really built his career out the mud. Everybody has heard his stories of the house that he grew up in. My roots is South Carolina, so the area where he's from down there in Georgia, I'm familiar with. And I played against Sterling Sharp when Sterling Sharp was at South Carolina.
South Carolina, bad
Yeah,
dude.
man, played against him. Played against him in college and in the NFL was when he was there. This was his brother who he wanted to be just like, who says to this day he wish he could give his brother his Hall of Fame jacket. This is how much he looked at. Shannon has built himself up from that. Um, you know, as they said, might have had a little speech impediment. You know what I'm talking about? He corrected that. No different than Bill Walton. You know what I mean? Nobody tries to dog Bill Walton. You know what I mean? Had the same little thing and had to. He's developed himself and put himself into, you know what I mean, like a marketing genius right now. Got on the talk shows, got fired from one, and now he has built himself up now to have a real successful platform. Man has had hip surgery. All the years that he's played as an undersized tight end, he's banged up. Gonna walk a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Look at Deion. Deion ain't walking the same. You know what I mean? It's a lot of cats is not, you know what I mean, like moving the same. So just cats is trying to be joking and just trying to find something to put a nick in his armor. But he's doing a great job of taking it all in stride. He's a man's man. And I'm telling you that from heart. You know what I'm talking about? Shannon Sharp is a man's man. Um, always has been, always been a good teammate, always been a good brother, always been a good father. Just as he not, and always been a comedian. He's always been a comedian. So the things he said now, he said back in Denver and all like that, man. So I love the brother. The brother's a man, man. I don't even entertain that stuff all that. Shannon ain't even entertaining him. And Ocho got a great little podcast thing going on, taking it stride. And every time somebody says something about him, that just clicks for him. He look at his direct deposit, and his bank account is getting fatter and fatter. So he appreciate all the little talk that people are trying to say about him because it's making more people look and watch him. You think about it. If somebody, oh, he is this, and make someone click, well, let me go see. Another click. You know what I'm talking about? Ching ching. Yeah, say something else. He heard him saying on the podcast. Say something else about me. Y'all need to say some more. You know what I'm talking about? Because the more you talk about it, the more people want to see what time it is. And he just chinging on it, man. But I'm just proud of him, man, and just feel fortunate enough to been able to play with him. You know, for him to even shout out my name, man, still has my head kind of big. Yeah, Shannon shouted me out. You heard it. A little cat from 3rd Street, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, but I just brought that up to give character to who he was
The man's man.
in the locker
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
As you said, always joking,
Always. Good dude.
always on it. And
Good
as you
dude.
said, just a good dude, and I witnessed that. Just a good dude. And
Man, look,
you know,
Ray Lewis,
Baby
hanging
Ray.
with Ray, Ed Reed, you know how solid they are. You see what I'm talking about? Them boys are certified. You see what I'm talking about? And them the guys that he was around. But anybody that's around Shannon Sharp, man, has love for him. You know, it's only the people, you know, the certain little people just trying to put a dent in his arm, but you can't, man, because he's Superman. He really is, man. He's earned it. Everything he's got, he's earned. You know what I mean? Even when he got to get knocked, you know, even though Skip tried to like slight him a little bit, he bounced back from that. And look at him now with Stephen A. and now got his own podcast and Shay and all the different things like that, man. He marketing genius, man. I'm just proud and happy for him. He my guy. Yeah.
But man, recently, you like we were kind of getting into a little bit earlier, man, coaching different assistant stops all throughout HBCU football at the high school level. For you as a coach, how would you describe your coaching style for these guys? And I guess what's been your biggest learning experience as you've been from place to place throughout kind of jump starting your coaching career?
Been a defensive coordinator a few places, and you have to know that you win with talent. Let's first say that. It's really not coaching. It's more talent than coaching. So you got to be really a good recruiter. We all know Bill Belichick is the GOAT as far as head coaches. Has not been the same without Tom Brady, and that's just period. You know, Bill Belichick, they ain't forget how to coach. You look at George Seifert when he won a Super Bowl at San Fran, and then went to Carolina. He kind of struggles. A lot of coaches like that. Jimmy Johnson, remember now he was at Dallas, and we knew the teams he put together in Dallas, but he go to Miami, could not. You know what I mean? Just couldn't get the same talent. You know what I mean? You got to be lucky a little bit. Kansas City right now got Patrick Mahomes. You take Patrick Mahomes off that team, Kansas City ain't the same team, just far as that. And so like, I just learned that you got to really be a good recruiter to get talent, and then kind of like devise your game plan around the talent that you have, i.e. Baltimore. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Dan Marino, but he has a skill set. And I commend those offensive coaches that create an offensive plan that caters to Lamar Jackson. Yes, MVP Lamar Jackson that they said that should move to wide receiver and all these different things. And, you know, I'm talking about has done what he's done and been the MVP of the NFL. You know what I mean? Not the CFL and not the World League. I know the NFL where the best of the best is at. You know what I mean? So I learned that you have to divide. First of all, you got to recruit. Or if you're in the NFL, you got to, you know what I mean? You got to be good at drafting people. And then, like, you know what I mean, cater your offense and your defense around the talent that you have so you can get the best out of those players.
Coach, go ahead, man.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So one game in particular, man, I want to get a breakdown and kind of go into Grambling Alcorn this past year. Highlight of my career, highlight of the neighborhood. To be able to have that pre-game picture with you, post-game picture, and I just want you to take us through it because it's funny to me how you categorize it like at the end. Even after all that, I just thought at the end we were gonna win that game. Just the atmosphere. I just want you to speak on the atmosphere driving into Alcorn for homecoming because you've been at different places. And just to see that, because I don't think it's done justice.
First of all, I knew Alcorn had a great fan base from the games that you giving me tickets to that I have came and saw you play. Alcorn traveled to Daytona Beach. Alcorn traveled to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, for that Celebration Bowl. I've seen how they fans travel. Something about the Mississippi fans. I mean, Mississippi in general. They Jackson State, Alcorn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. It's something about the state of Mississippi. They love their football. You know what I mean? Southern Miss, they different now. The whole state now, they live and die that. But when we drove up into Alcorn, first of all, it's one way in. It's one way in there. And you got to have a police escort to get down in there. But it was people from before you even got to Alcorn. Before you even got to Alcorn. And it was just, it reminded me like if I was at Florida State. You know what I'm saying? It was that atmosphere, like when we had the police escort going into Florida State, playing Miami, playing Clemson, and you getting the escort. It was just that, and it was homecoming. I know it was homecoming, right, for y'all? It was homecoming.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
atmosphere was tremendous, and but I wasn't surprised because I seen how they traveled and just knew how they was, and the stadium was packed. I was excited. I was disappointed we lost, but like I told you after the game, I was happy for you and Coach McNair because I played with Coach McNair. Coach McNair was our quarterback my second year in London. And I remember Coach McNair saying, because he could spin the ball. And I remember him saying, "You think I can throw the ball? You wait till you see my little brother." And his little brother's name was Steve McNair. I never forget that. When we was in the World League, he said it. He said, "Wait till you see my little brother." And his little brother was Steve McNair. But I mean, big up to Alcorn and Jackson State and those schools that's in Mississippi that when it's time for them to show up, they're gonna show up and they're gonna show out. And they got the best of us that day, and I commend Alcorn. I wasn't bitter or anything, man. I was happy for Coach Leroy, and I was happy for Coach McNair. You know what I mean? If anybody I was gonna lose to, you know what I'm saying, I didn't mind losing to Coach Fred and Coach McNair because they're just great guys and just the Alcorn fan base in the whole nine.
Coach, this past season for Grambling, I mean, you guys started the season out. I mean, I told Coach on this show, and he could tell you, I thought Miles Crawley was going to compete for the Walter Payton Award the way he was playing earlier this season. Talk a little bit about how difficult the transition was at the end of the year. What was that process like? And just from your perspective, I know you can't speak for Coach Jackson or anybody. Why do you think they decided to make the change this year? Because myself, Coach Fred, everyone was talking about that. It seemed like it was too early to bail on Coach Hugh Jackson as head coach at Grambling.
Now I'm gonna say this, because Diggum, I'm 100. I ain't the most political guy. And there's a lot of politics.
We're in the lounge, baby.
We know there's a lot of politics in there. I believe they're gonna get rid of the defensive staff anyway. I just believe there's gonna make a change with that. Me thinking. I'm talking about how things were going on in the year. But I didn't think they was gonna let go Coach Jackson and often they was second in the SWAC. You know what I mean? Let me give you this right here. 4 to 5 linemen. They let go Hugh Jackson. Our 2 running backs was good, even though they was undersized.
Yeah.
One of our running backs went to San Jose State. The other one, number 2, went to Cincinnati. Our best receiver went to Temple. One of our starting linemen went to La Tech, Louisiana Tech. Our starting left tackle, these all guys went to Portal. Our starting left tackle went to Illinois. One of our other linemen, might be the center or whatever, went to New Mexico State. And I forget where the other one went. 4 to 5 of our linemen went higher D1. And both of our running backs went, and our receiver. That shows you and all those guys was back.
Yeah.
Back. But when coach, that's the coaching changes in general. When the coaching change was made, those guys got in the portal and they didn't go to, whatever school. They didn't go to, try not to diss no school or a lower level school. You know what I'm talking about? So they can go to play. No, these guys went higher levels. You know what I'm saying? Illinois, you know what I'm saying? Cincinnati, San Jose State, New Mexico State, Temple. You know what I mean? These are the guys that were on the offense. And if Miles had decided to jump in the portal, he would have been somewhere bigger too. But he just stayed there. Now, I will say this: Mickey Joseph is a proven guy from Louisiana. Was at LSU. I think when they won the national championship, if I'm not mistaken. Played at Nebraska. Has hired a fantastic staff. His offensive coordinator has been a great head coach in the SWAC at PV and at Southern. And so the thing they have to do now, like we talked about earlier, is replace those guys that they lost who had experience. You know what I mean? It's one thing to all right, you assemble the staff, but can you get those players to buy into your system and play at the high level that you need them to play at? As Hugh Jackson and his staff had got those guys to play at. Our receiver coach is now the receiver coach at Temple. Our offensive coordinator now is the offensive coordinator at Pine Bluff. Our offensive line coach is now the head coach at St. Augustine. You see what I'm talking about? So Coach Jackson had assembled a really good a really good staff and a really good thing. I think he deserved at least one more year. That Alcorn game took the wind out of us a little bit. The way they came back and was resilient. We shouldn't have lost in Hampton. We could have easily beat Alcorn. We came out on the short end, and we was on the 1 yard line against Southern. That's 3 wins right there. And I think he was still there. But when you lose those 3 in such close manner, I think, the fan bases are tough. And I guess they just didn't want to give him one more year and just wanted to make a change. But the pieces was there. And all you got to do is look at the guys that went in the portal and where they went. You know what I mean? To let you know the talent that we had there on our offensive side of the ball. They were second in the SWAC as far as offense. And the whole offense was coming back.
And then not just that, too. I mean, I think people forget Lyndon Rash was one of the best wide receivers in the SWAC as well, going to end up probably playing somewhere professionally. And then they, on the defensive side, Sundiata Anderson might be the only SWAC player to get drafted this year.
Yep, he might be. And like I said, it was there. It's just unfortunate, I say. And we would have got to let go defensively. I can see what they're saying. You know what I mean? They wanted the defense to keep up with the offense and things like that. And, fan base was rumbling and, boosters and things like that. But as far as, not giving Huey one more year, you got to give a coach 3. 1 year, like Mickey. It's his first year. We don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to be a rebuilding thing for him because he lost so many good players. Then the second year, you see, what I mean, they start to improve, which Grambling did improve. And so now you look at the third year, okay, this is your do or die year. This is the year things are supposed to happen. I thought that Coach Jackson and, the players and everybody deserved that. And now everybody is somewhere else. And so now they have to learn a new team. And again, Diggum, they got Coach Fred. I'm sorry, I keep calling him. He got a nickname that we call him back home. So you hear me say Diggum, I apologize. I get a call, Coach Fred. Now these guys got to separate themselves all over again. Just because you went there don't mean you start now, because you're going to be there with some other great players. But when you was at Grambling, y'all was, you was the man. Now you just got to separate yourself wherever places that you were. But we had a good squad coming back. We really did.
Before I toss it back to Coach, me and him talk all the time on this show about how the coaching profession has changed, and man, fan bases, administration are so impatient. I mean, you're talking about not just Hugh Jackson. Dooley, the new offensive coordinator at Grambling, was just fired. What, Coach, a year after he went to the SWAC championship? Like
yes,
less than a year. Talk a little. You talked about how that Florida State staff stuck together and how they were patient with Bowden building that program and things like that. Talk a little bit about the change you've seen in the coaching profession, and where do you think the instability comes from in terms of the impatience of fan bases nowadays?
The money that's being dealt out and the win now type thing. It's really social media more than anything. Social media wasn't big when I was in school. Ain't nobody had no cell phones, wasn't no Google. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all that, and Instagram, and everything is really out there now. And a lot of people have voices because you are on social media. So everybody, got a podcast, and everybody, putting out quotes and stuff. I think you should be this. I think we should do that. A lot of what do you call them, armchair coaches and things like that. People that not in the inside but think they know the inside. You know what I mean? And so the coaches get kind of wrapped. They get kind of like the short stick of that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna go back to Nick. Now we all know Nick Saban had years left under his belt. But it's just so hard now that every player at University of Alabama now, and not just Alabama, all right then, what you gonna do for me? How much money you gonna give me? What NIL deal can you give me? Because this team is offering me this free agency. And I just think that became hard for him when he was just used to recruiting and having guys. Because remember now, Alabama is one of the schools that guys they mind sitting behind their position. and waiting until they got, especially running backs and linebackers and stuff. We're gonna sit and wait, and when we get our chance, you're going first round or second round, whatever like that. I just think that came a little heavy. I'm just speaking from the outside, and for a lot of coaches, even this year, you know what I mean? Like what Coach Joseph is going to go through at Grambling, it's not going to be easy. Now the good thing about it is this: if you got a quarterback, you got a chance. You know what I mean? And Grambling has a quarterback. But just as far as the win now, Grambling just showed you. You know what I'm talking about? Grambling did improve from year 1 to year 2, but it wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? I think they was thinking SWAC championship when everybody in the SWAC knew fam was loaded. It was gonna be the team that was in there. Everybody stupid, but the fans, like fam was loaded. It was like Jackson State the last 2 years. People knew. And so now I think, Coach Fred, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the SWAC is wide open this year. You know what I'm saying? As far as like who's going to challenge for it. I don't know of any team that has a lead as far as like, all right, this is the favorite, the odds-on favorite, like FAM was last year and like Jackson State was the 2 years from before that.
Yeah, Coach is going to say that team, that team over in Lorman right now,
which has as many chances as anybody.
Mm-hmm. No doubt, like you say, we quarterback comes back, and that gives you a leg up, that gives you an opportunity. Before we get you out of here, man, you've won at every level, and you've won a state championship as a head coach, high school. Super Bowls, the World Bowls, never lost a bowl game. I can remember begging you to get into coaching because I was like, man, this is it. You dudes, you can do this. And now you're out, you're back to high school.
Yes.
What pulls you back to the college game?
Coaching with Coach Leroy or coaching with friends. That's the only thing that'll pull me back. People that I wanted, like, it was really the only reason it was one of the main reasons I went to Grambling was to be able to experience the Bayou Classic. Because I like high school more. To each his own. Now, let me say this. To each his own with coaches. But I like, I got grandkids now, and my grandkids play on Saturday. And so, like, I'll be wanting to be able to watch them on the weekends. And it's hard for me to watch my grandkids on the weekends play if I'm playing on Saturday. She's inside, I'm sorry. Okay. So it's hard for me to watch them. It's hard for me to watch them on the weekends when I'm playing on that. Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get up in here.
Nah.
All right, I'm back. Somebody pulled up outside in my little spot. Okay, I'm good. And I got light. Let there be light.
So, and then you speak about the Bayou Classic, man. I got a chance to go. I hadn't been there in a long, long time. I got a chance to go. Thank you for that. What was that experience like? Because I hear so much about it from the coaching side that it's treated as a bowl game. What was that experience about, man? I know we got to get you out of here in a minute, but
no, man, I'm good.
If you could talk to that a little bit.
We can talk. I ain't in no rush. Of course, Leroy, us being from Florida, we dealt with the Florida Classic between Florida A&M and Bethune. That's big. I'm just telling you, man, I've been really fortunate as far as this game to be in some good positions. I coached at Bama State. The Magic City Classic is the biggest classic right now out of the HBCU classics. It draws the most. It draws the most. I think what I like more about the Magic City is that you can tailgate at the Magic City. So it's more you tailgating. There is no NFL teams. There's no distractions in Alabama. That's why college is so big there. So everybody looks forward to that. We all know what New Orleans offers. People go to New Orleans. It ain't got to be no classic for people to go to New Orleans. It's New Orleans, but you can't tailgate New Orleans. You know what I mean? So it's more just the atmosphere inside the stadium and on Bourbon Street and in the French Quarter. But that's New Orleans anyway. You know what I mean? It's just like that. You know what I mean? For the whole nine. The atmosphere on the inside was very nice. But the energy from the Magic City, far as like, to me, was a little more, to me, than the Bayou was. But I think it's because the tailgating, it's kind of like when we went to Alcorn. We rode through all the tailgaters. You don't ride through that when you play in the Bayou City, Bayou Classic, not Bayou City, but the Bayou Classic. It's just you ride through the city, you get to the stadium, and then the stadium be packed on the inside, battle bands, and the whole nine. But the outside atmosphere is not like the outside atmosphere of like when we went to Alcorn, Magic City, not even the Florida Classic. You know what I mean? Because in the Florida Classic, you tailgate. And so after the game, where everybody go? They go back and they tailgate and they finish tailgating. You don't get that in the Bayou. When you leave out of the dome, you hit the French Quarter or you hit hotels. So that atmosphere is different on the outside, not the inside. The inside is live, as you saw, but it's the outside combination of the outside along with the inside that makes Magic City and the Florida Classic just a notch above for me, because that's what you go out and you like be able to experience.
I'm about to say,
that's a big debate. That's a big
oh man,
debate.
I'm about to say that might be debated till the end of time. There's already people in the chat.
But the Bayou is one that's TV, national TV, so that separates it as far as like nationally. But when you talk about outside, I mean, New Orleans is the Big Easy. I'm saying you're gonna have a good time on Bourbon, but you're not gonna tailgate. But like I said, that doesn't happen. New Orleans is New Orleans from Mardi Gras, from Essence Fest. You can go to New Orleans on any time and get that same atmosphere of people packed on Bourbon Street. We just had Mardi Gras here. It's just like it. You won't know no different. Now they just wearing different colors. The purple and gold, everybody looking like they're LSU. The Magic City is the only thing that goes on in the Birmingham that's like that one time a year. It's like the Super Bowl. You see what I'm talking about? It's one shot, one kill. New Orleans is going to have something all the time. Even if you miss the Bayou, go to Mardi Gras. Or you miss Mardi Gras, I go to the Essence Fest. You know what I mean? You got a chance still to experience New Orleans. Birmingham, Magic City is the biggest thing that happens there. And so everybody is there for that event. They're looking forward for us the next year. We're going to go to the Magic City, you know what I'm saying, class and be a part of that. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Nothing else happens in Birmingham. You tell me. I don't know. I mean, I was right down outside of Birmingham. Ain't nothing else popping in Birmingham. You know what I mean? I'm talking about that big, that somebody's traveling to Birmingham and they're going to have that type of fun that's there.
No, I'm with you. I tell Coach all the time, the best SWAC game I still have ever been to was that Soul Bowl. What year is it? 2021, Coach?
Capital City Classic.
Yeah,
City Classic.
Well, no. So a Jackson fan reached out to me, Coach. It's the Soul Bowl when it's in Lorman. It's the Capital City Classic when it's in Jackson.
When it's in Jackson.
Man, when it was that year, it was in Lorman. It was Shador's second year.
Yeah,
it was Shador's second year.
Yeah,
Travis's first year. Man, I'm telling you, like, man, Coach, I was on the strip at 4 a.m. trying to get onto campus for like a 2:30 kickoff.
What'd you say, media? It's one way in there, down in there.
It's different. But Coach, looking at high school, before we get into high school football, college football, I talk to coaches now, and I know you said it's personal opinion. There's a lot of college coaches right now that secretly have said that they would go back to high school because of how crazy college coaching is and how much it takes out of you. Talk a little bit about the difficulty with the transfer portal, NIL, and especially coaching at the FCS level at a Grambling State, at an Alabama State, where you don't have the resources of a Florida State, a Bama, a Georgia. Just talk about your adjustment with that and how difficult it was for you as a coach.
You really have to be creative on how you recruit student athletes, because just in all reality, you're not going to get the 5, the 4, the 3-star athlete. Those kids are going to the Southern Miss, the Sam Houston States, the North Dakota States, the Troy States, the Georgia States, the Florida Atlantic, you know what I mean? And it's all really because of the resources and the money that's being given to them right now. If we get, you know, the SWAC or the MEAC is getting one of them superstar players, they're unhappy at somewhere else and they want to play right away. And they'll come down and play at a Grambling or, you know what I'm saying, a Clark Atlanta or something like that. But it's because they're unhappy where they at and they don't think they're getting playing time. But off the rip, like a 3-star, 4-star kid, you know what I mean, they may just entertain it, but when you look at the facilities, you know, other than Prairie View, you know what I'm saying, PV got some nice facilities. It's just hard for our schools to keep up with the money aspect of it, to keep up with them. And I think that's one, you tell me if I'm wrong, Coach Fred, you know what I mean, that's why teams will go to the Celebration Bowl rather than go to the playoffs, because you make a good pretty penny in the Celebration Bowl. If you get to the Celebration Bowl, more than what you would make. Because don't you got to pay to go in the playoffs and
Yeah,
FCS?
you pay and they reimburse you later.
They reimburse you later, and I don't know if we got enough money in the piggy bank to be able to
To hold up to that reimbursement come.
Reimbursement come, but we know one thing is guaranteed: if you make that Celebration Bowl, that's, you know what I mean, that money is there. Yeah, that money is there for you off the rip. And then the atmosphere that the Celebration Bowl brings in Atlanta, they do a fantastic job. Coach Fred has been there a couple times, and the city really rolls out the red carpet for that. But it's going to always be resources, no different than high schools. You know what I mean? No different than high schools. We from a county, and you know, I call it the University of Lakeland. You got Lakeland High School, and I mean, it's just facts. If Lakeland is short of a player, they're going to go get somebody else best player, and they're going to go to Lakeland. That's just how it is. Ain't nothing you can do. You know what I'm saying? What's our receiver from Marbury, man, that went to Lakeland, that play at Georgia right now?
Still there.
Yeah, number 11.
A. Smith.
And
Smith.
Yeah, Aaron Smith. That's a Marbury kid. I don't care what it is. He on his thing, on his bio, it's gonna say Lakeland. That kid is from Marbury, Bradley. You know what I'm saying? He from out there in the sticks. But his senior year, you know, you have Marbury, smaller school. He playing both ways, playing quarterback. Lakeland say you can just play, you know what I'm saying, wide receiver, and you have a chance to play for a state championship. That's what Lakeland offers you. And that's what them other schools offer you. You know, I'm talking about the facilities and things like that. That's what I'm talking about. You still have to be real clear. That's what I'm saying. Hugh Jackson done a good job of. Just think about Chennis, what he did at Benedict. You know what I'm saying? He was able to create an atmosphere at Benedict, man, and get some transfers in there to be able to make that team competitive immediately. You know what I'm saying? 2 years in a row. And look what that happened for him. That he went to, now he's at South Carolina State. Let's bring up the head coach at FAM. What's his name? What's his name, coach? What's his name? The head coach,
Willie.
Past head coach. Huh?
Yeah, Willie Simmons.
Willie.
Well, all right. It's just perfect analogy. They just come off the national championship. How FAM could not hold on to Willie, but Willie said it. Willie Simmons said he has aspirations to coach at the FBS level. He don't think that they will give him the same amount of respect if he was coaching, you know what I'm saying, at the level he was coaching at, to be able to achieve one of those jobs. So he had to get into that level to be able to prove that, to be able to knock up, because he said his goal is to be an FBS head coach. He didn't think that he would be able to do it, even though he's won the national championship. Now, if he won the, look, you can go to Arkansas State, Gus Malzahn did, and win, and not win a national championship and get Auburn. You can't win the national championship at Florida A&M and be able to get a what? Get a Virginia job, get University of Virginia, or get a Duke, or things like that. You know, that's just the way it is right now in the realm of the game.
Go ahead, Coach.
I see my guy in there from UAPB. What's up? But, you know, and me and you talk about it all the time, you know, and we were talking about, you know, Arian at Mulberry, you know, Kirby Smart, Nick, they were coming there. They were flying a helicopter, landing at Mulberry High School. But
he had that Georgia
the allure, before he didn't need to go anywhere, but the allure to go somewhere else, bigger, I think is always in the kids' state of mind. And I don't know how we combat that now. If you are the head coach at FBS Dodge University. How are you combating that? How are you keeping those kids there? What is your tactic? What is your angle to try?
It's only relationships. It's only relationships now. You know, it's only relationships now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No. Okay, let me get off this one. Get back on the mic. What about now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. It's relationships, but even that don't work now because now money is intact, and all these student athletes are talking about how much money they get from this NIL and this NIL deal as far as on that, and that's what Hugh Jackson was doing a good job of because Hugh Jackson got NFL ties, and so Grambling had a few guys that was getting a little bit of NIL money that I'm talking about sweetening the tooth a little bit that helped kept them there. Um, the money that's putting back in the universities and the guys back then they was doing it under the table, but now it's legal. Ain't under the table no more. You know what I mean? Look at Colorado and look how many people, how much money they make. Look at Andrew Reed. Andrew Reed said, I'm gonna make more money at LSU than I am in the WNBA. I might as well stay here at LSU and get paid. And so that's just the landscape of everything right now. It's always going to be tougher for the smaller schools that don't have the finances the way the other schools have. That's just the nature of the game. And that's like you said, Coach Fred. We talked about Lakeland, talking about high school. You talking about IMG. You know what I'm saying? You talk about St. Thomas Aquinas. I'm just talking about these Florida schools. I mean, just that can go, get the best athlete over there because of the atmosphere of it and the teams that they're able to play. That's why the SEC put out so many NFL players every year. And this year, the most players are going to come out the SEC. Those schools have built an atmosphere of like you playing each other, and on the end of it, you're going to be able to have a chance to go in it because the NFL looks at the SEC as like more pro-ready conference. You know what I'm saying? You're going against more NFL pro guys. So then you go to the SWAC and you go to the MEAC, all right? You have a player, I'm going to say Miles Crawley. How many NFL-ready guys is he going to play against in the year? Then if he went to a North Dakota State or if he went to a Virginia and you playing Penn State or something like that, they want to see you go against top talent. You see what I'm talking about? And that just as far as what it is. I don't know how many guys got drafted out of HBCUs last year. Was it one?
Yeah.
Was it one?
Yeah.
And that kid was a Florida State kid. He was from Florida State. You know what I mean? Wasn't he? But that's when Deion was there, whatever. The one time, I don't know if last year or the year before, it was like one. But that kid was a transfer from Florida State. He was at Florida State first. Prime pulled him there. So he really wasn't a Jackson State kid. That kid was a Florida State kid that went to Jackson State to play, and then he got, I'm talking about, got drafted. So we say like Steve McNair, we talk about Steve McNair. Steve McNair was a straight swag guy. You know what I mean? That went there, chose Alcorn, played there, and earned his way up. But it's tougher at the lower level. I'm not gonna just say HBCU. It's any FCS school. It's tougher for the FCS schools, D2 schools, D3 schools than it is for an FBS school. It's just gonna always will be, and it's because of the talent that you go against. I'm talking about trying to think that. That's why the most come from the upper level. That's just period. You can look at any NFL roster and it's going to be filled. You look at the first round this year and see how many kids get drafted that come from Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Washington, Oregon, and then see the one or two that may come from whatever school. That's just the way it is.
I like how you made the connection to high school football as well. Because there was a kid, he was at Mobile Christian last year. It was like a 3A school in Southern Alabama. Man, he's transferring to Miami Central next year. They came and plucked him. He had a huge year last year, like 30 tackles for loss. And Miami Central said, why don't you go ahead and come down here and play it? Because Miami Central puts out stupid talent every year.
Year in and year out.
Yeah, they're crazy. But Coach, at the high school level, especially in Florida, when you and Coach played back in the day at Florida high school football, how is the emergence of an IMG, a St. Thomas Aquinas, those type of schools changed not just the kids' trajectory, but coaching at the high school level in the state of Florida?
I believe that those schools
I think here in Louisiana they call it not select and non-select. And the non-select schools are the public schools, and they play each other for the state championship. And the select schools, which mean that you can select kids from all over, they play each other for the state championship. I think that's how it should be with a St. Thomas Aquinas, Bishop Gorman, the team up in Maryland, you know what I'm saying? Maslin, the schools up in Ohio, because those schools, I'm not going to say it's an unfair advantage. It's the advantage that was given to them, you know what I mean? The private schools where they got the finances and the money to be able to go get those schools. Lakeland is different. Miami Central is different because those are public schools and still able to get, you know what I'm saying, a couple of good kids to come through. But it's kind of unfair for the schools that play with the kids that's in their area, that's in their district, and you got to play. I remember we scrimmaged against when I was at Ridge Community College, not college, but school, and we played IMG. It wasn't fair. The whole team was 4 stars and 5. They got this kid commit to Alabama and this kid right here. We might got one kid that's offered, you know what I'm talking about, to a FCS school, and we're going against them. It just, you know what I'm saying, the playing level is just not fair for them schools to be playing like regular public schools to me. And you look at, it shows you how good Central is, and back when Northwestern was really running things, that those teams could play like Lakeland. When was that? I'm gonna use Lakeland. When Lakeland beat St. Thomas Aquinas 2 years in a row. You see what I'm talking about? But what Lakeland did, and I ain't hating on you, Lakeland, but Lakeland ended up getting kids from other places to be able to build that thing. But it's all, again, what we say, Coach, it's talent. Who can be able to get the most talent to be able to go against a team that's already building talent? If it wasn't important, Kirby Smart wouldn't be flying helicopters on your yard. It wouldn't be, if it wasn't important. If coaching was the main thing, man, you wouldn't be trying to trade up and trade Justin Fields or get this guy. It's all important as far as getting kids. I like it when the public schools can play the regular public schools. I think that's fair. I'm trying to be fair. And, you know, in the Christian schools, the private schools, big up to you, but y'all need to play each other. You see what I'm talking about? And then y'all decide y'all championship on that level.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah,
I'll let you
I
wrap this
remember,
one up, man.
Yeah, I just remember, I think I called you. I went to Auburndale to see a kid, and 5 minutes there, Kirby lands the helicopter on the field. I think I was left in that office with the assistant guidance counselor. Everybody left me. It was gone. I was like, okay, well, it's time for me to get up out of here. I ain't got an opportunity in this school, but that's just how it is. Man, with that being said, man, we appreciate your time, brother. Your parting shots, man, just on your career, where it finds you, what's next, whatever you want to part out with.
I mean, I feel fortunate to be at a good high school now. I'm in New Iberia, Louisiana at Westgate. I think 3 years ago they won state championship here. They're in a real tough district. They play St. Thomas More and Lafayette Christian. Them Lafayette schools are pretty strong, but look, they're Christian schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? They private schools that can get the best kids out of Lafayette. Westgate playing with the kids that's in their parish. It's parishes here, it's not counties. So they playing with the kids that's in their parish. But the good thing about it is when they get in the playoffs, they get to play the non-select schools. But I feel fortunate to be at a really good school. Coach Ryan Antone and the guys. Look, on our staff right now, we got our defensive coordinator playing in the NFL. He's from Westgate. Our defensive line coach, I think he coached O-line as well. He played in the NFL. Coach Ryan, our head coach, played at La Tech. Our offensive coordinator played at Houston. And here you go bring in Dedrick Dodge. So staff-wise, we're pretty experienced. Don't have that many players, but they do play tough. I just feel fortunate to be with a team that will be able to compete. And then, I'm committed here for this year, and then we'll just see what happens next year. I'm really proud for Coach Fred. Those they don't really know Coach Fred, his story. He's real humble as far as like how he grew up and how he come to be where he is right now. He is one that has got it out the mud has been a brother to me, man, since day one. Like I said, I owe him as far as me getting back in the league, because when I used to work out by myself, he used to work with me. So just him being with you and having this podcast and being in the position he is now at Alcorn, knowing where he came from and, you know what I'm saying, the ups and downs, everything, that I'm just really proud. So I live through him right now, man, and I'm just honored to be a part of this podcast for tonight, man, and just big up to y'all and y'all future endeavors.
Man, I appreciate that. Coach, want to close this out?
Appreciate it, brother. You know, anytime you want to come back on with us, man, you can hit me up. You know how to do it. And man, thanks for coming to the lounge, yo.
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Hey, thank y'all very much, man. Continued success, brothers.
Appreciate
you, man. Guys, that is our special guest for the night. The Blade, Dedrick Dodge, man, 2-time Super Bowl champion, World Bowl champion, former Florida State cornerback. But guys, for
you went
the
to college
Blade,
wearing how much?
153. That's why
As
they
someone
called
who
me the Blade. They said I was so skinny I can hide behind the blade of grass. Yeah, they were cracking all kind of jokes. Until the blade cut them.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it was all funny until you got cut.
And that's what you do when you're doing the Seminole rap. Yes, sir.
Man. My name is Dodge, but they call me the Blade. Deadly to receivers as the ace of spades. I ain't gonna go.
Oh, man. But guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. For my guy, Coach Fred, for the Blade, Dedrick Dodge, for myself, man, for the Blue Bloods. We out for right now.